Greetings, students, and welcome back to Chapter 11, Keywords and Concepts. We're moving on with personality and talking about how behaviorists view it. So obviously, behaviorists do not think that there is any kind of inborn natural personality for humans, right? They think that personality is significantly shaped by reinforcements and consequences outside of the organism. In other words, people learn, right? They behave in a consistent manner based on prior learning. So let's say as a child, you were very extroverted, like very, very, very extroverted. You were loud and you liked to play with other children and you were very, very excitable and had lots of energy. Let's say your parents didn't like that aspect of your personality and they punished you for it. Do you think at 20 years old, you're still going to be extroverted? Probably not. So that's what they meant by that, okay? Moving into different concepts, particularly regarding how we view ourselves, we have self-efficacy, and this is our level of confidence in our own abilities developed through our social experiences. So the more often we do things successfully, the more likely we are to try things. Self-efficacy affects how we approach challenges and reach goals. If you always struggle to get things done, you're going to continue to struggle to get things done because you don't trust yourself, because you don't think you're good at getting things done. That's why a lot of those advice books or whatever will tell you to set little goals, right? Like little 5-minute goals that are easily reached so you can build up your self-efficacy before moving on to the larger goals. And a lot of this has to do with the difference between our ideal self and our real self. And Freud was trying to get into this with his layers of the psyche, but this one sounds a little more reasonable to me. So the ideal self is the person that you would like to be, right? The perfect version of you. And we all know who that is, right? And then the real self is the person you actually are, the actual human that you are. Now, Carl Rogers was fascinated by these two people, and he was also fascinated by the fact that the healthiest people, the people with the healthiest personalities, seem to have found congruence between these two things. And that's a state of being in which our thoughts about our real and our ideal selves are very similar, right? You're reconciling who you are with who you want to be, realizing there's lots of things you can't be, and kind of figuring that out. That's very healthy. That is a very healthy thing to be, to understand your limitations and your abilities. That is congruence. And then we did talk about this a little bit last week, but just to refresher here, it is important that we know that Maslow's highest need in that hierarchy pyramid of needs is self-actualization. Because remember, all those other things have to be met before you can get to self-actualization. And self-actualization is what allows us to actually grow as people, right? It allows us to develop all of our abilities, broaden our horizons. It's the stuff where we really get to have fun with life, where we're not so worried about all of the little stuff that are already taken care of because we're at that highest point in the pyramid. All right, I'll see you in the next video.